Every day, billions of people stop a 2-ton machine because a lamp turns red, and move again because one turns green. But nothing in nature says red means stop, and nothing about green says go. Somebody chose, and the first time, they chose differently. For the first 50 years of colored signaling, green did not mean go. Green meant caution. Slow down. The color that meant all clear, track ahead empty, carry on, was plain white. So how did we end up here? If you were designing this from scratch, would you pick these three? Blue is unmistakable. So is purple. And if you want a stop signal visible from as far away as possible, physics gives you an uncomfortable answer. Don't use red. The human eye peaks in sensitivity at yellowish-green light, around 555 nanometers. It's the wavelength where 1 watt of light produces the most brightness your eye can register. Red sits out near the edge of what we can see at all. Watt for watt, it's the dimmest of the three. And at night, it gets worse. As your eyes adapt to darkness, your sensitivity slides toward blue-green, and red fades faster than anything else. We built the world's most important safety signal out of the color our eyes handle worst. The answer isn't on the road at all. It's on the railway. The world's first traffic light went up outside Parliament in London in December 1868. Gaslit, worked by hand by a policeman, red and green lamps. It was designed by a railway engineer named John Peake Knight, who simply copied what trains already used. It lasted about 3 weeks. In January 1869, a gas leak under the pavement blew it up and badly burned the constable operating it. London didn't try again for nearly 60 years. But the railways kept going, and their color rules were settled remarkably early. At a meeting in Birmingham in 1841, the industry agreed. Red for danger, green for caution, white for all clear. White made sense. White is the brightest thing you can put in a lamp, and on a dark 1840s night, a white light meant one thing only: the railway. Then 2 problems arrived. Thanks for riding along, by the way. A like helps this reach the next person stuck at a red light, and subscribing costs less than the wait itself. If you've got an absurdity you want taken apart, the comments are open, because the second problem is where this gets genuinely strange. The first problem was mechanical. Signal lamps worked by putting a colored glass lens in front of a white flame. So, what happens when the red lens cracks and drops out of its holder? The lamp doesn't go dark. It doesn't show a warning. It shows a clean, bright white. Proceed. The signal doesn't merely fail. It fails into the single most dangerous instruction it can give. You'll often hear that one spectacular crash in 1914 forced the change. That story is almost certainly backwards. Britain's Board of Trade was already requiring green instead of white on new lines by 1892, and the Railway Clearinghouse recommended dropping white in 1893. This wasn't one dramatic night. It was engineers slowly realizing their system had no safe way to break. The second problem was electricity. As towns wired up, white lights were suddenly everywhere. Street lamps, shop windows, front rooms. A driver squinting into that glare had to pick out one specific white light and stake a train on it. White stopped being a signal and became noise. So green was promoted to all clear, and caution needed a color of its own. Green itself was a mess. 32 different shades were in service, often impossible to tell apart through haze. The Corning Glass Works brought in a Yale psychologist and spent years fixing the palette, settling on a caution yellow that could not be read as either. In 1920, a Detroit police officer named William Potts wired 3 railway lamps into a 4-way signal, and the arrangement you sat under this morning was finished. Which leaves the real question. Why did red survive? Partly genuine physics. In clear air, haze, dust, and smoke, short wavelengths scatter away hardest, and red pushes through best. That much is true. The famous claim that red cuts through fog, though, is mostly myth. Fog droplets are far larger than a wavelength of light, and they scatter every color almost equally. That's exactly why fog looks white. But here's the twist. The color was never really the safety system. Look at any vertical traffic light. Red is on top. Always. That's mandated, and it isn't decoration. Around 8% of men have some red-green color deficiency, and to many of them, a green signal reads as pale gray or white. For those drivers, the message isn't carried by color at all. It's carried by position. Color is the label. Geometry is the fail-safe. Red kept its job not because it's the easiest color to see, but because it was already the most meaningful. And because by the time anyone measured the physics properly, half the planet had been trained, which is why Japan's lights look faintly wrong to visitors. Japanese traditionally used one word, AO, for both blue and green, so the go signal was always called blue. Rather than change the language, a 1973 government order changed the lamps. Japan uses the bluest shade of green international rules permit. The word, one. That's what these three colors really are. Not a design, a sediment, a rule from 1841, patched by a broken pane of glass, rescued from electric street lighting, and frozen in place the moment too many people knew it. So the next time you're stopped at a red light, you're not obeying traffic law. You're obeying a railway.